Serving others can be hard at the best of times for a lot of people, particularly people that we feel are at odds with our own way of thinking. So we have trouble serving people purely without having some sort of agenda of who we serve, who and what we serve. And so we'll see people in certain groups that serve just that particular group, or you might want to serve only this particular part of the world. But we have a problem serving others around us, or just serving someone we don't know in general, right? So one of the core aspects on the spiritual path is seva, is service. Now, within Vedanta, they take this a step further, where we have this idea in Vedanta of serving all jivas as Shiva. Now, Swami Vivekananda was a big proponent of this teaching about serving Jiva as Shiva. Now, Jiva, for those who don't know, is the persona system, the ego state of consciousness that we accumulate through our life that becomes who we are, in air quotes, as a person, but it's not who we truly are deep down, which is Atman, the undifferentiated consciousness, which is identical with Brahman, which is the ultimate reality. And we are all the Atman, which is Brahman. We are all that one consciousness from the Vedantic perspective. And so once we dive deeper into that understanding, then it's far easier to serve other jivas as Shiva. Now, that's part of the spiritual training of the meditative practices of Advaita Vedanta particularly, and also within Mahayana Buddhism, where we have the concept of the Bodhisattva. So the Bodhisattva comes back life after life until every individual is enlightened. And so these are two similar ideas, and a lot of people will find it ironic that Advaita Vedanta and Mahayana Buddhism have a very close kinship in their evolution within India. And so they both sort of have this teaching of serving others to attain the highest. Now, within Vedanta, it's not about essentially serving others at the soup kitchen, but it's in the sense of serving others with knowledge and wisdom. Now, Swami Vivekananda would say there's nothing wrong with going to the soup kitchen. Obviously, you are still serving jivas. You are still performing seva, which is a wonderful thing. But the highest service is serving others with the highest knowledge. This is what satsang is in Sanskrit. Satsang is to sit near a teacher or to sit close to the knowledge. And that's the essence of the Upanishads, is to sit near the knowledge, to sit near a teacher. And so that's how we can, in its purest form, serve other jivas. That doesn't mean we become a Bible basher and we go around the world knocking on doors and this and that. It means that when there's an opportunity that arises, feel free. But if no opportunity arises, you do not want to impose your will on others. In that sense, serving them to what their needs are in that point in time is a beautiful thing, because you understand deep down that they are Shiva. That Jiva is Shiva. No matter how crazy you think that person is, they are still Shiva deep down. You can think of the most grotesque person all throughout history. Have you got that person in your mind? They are the pure awareness of reality. They are Shiva itself. They are one with you. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Hard to imagine. But what's different between you and them is the way that their jiva developed. Even the most, as I said, the most grotesque person you can think of, think about them when they were an infant child. They would not have been angry and evil in air quotes, so to speak. They were just an infant child like you were. But the process of life and how they were conditioned was what differs between them and you. But deep down in their essence, they were still that infant child. They still are one with the ultimate reality of Brahman. And so, in saying that, can we serve other people that we find grotesque, other people we disagree with? Can we serve them in a way that helps their own growth without imposing your own will? And that is easier said than done, but that is a path for all of us, is about how to serve Jiva as Shiva. because that's what Jiva is. Jiva ultimately is Shiva. Jiva, that persona system, that ego that you believe you are, is just a layer that eclipses your true nature. That is Atman. That is identical with Brahman. And so that's all that differs between you and that ultimate reality, is this program, this conditioning that we've embodied from the society and culture we are brought up in, from our families, from our schools, etc. That's the Jiva. That's who we think we are, but we are not. And so when you understand that every other Jiva is actually Shiva, then a great sense of compassion arises. Because no matter how ridiculous that person may appear to you, you know deep down that they are Shiva. It's like that time when Alan Watts was sitting with the Guru, and this individual came down the street doing all of these things. And Alan kind of smirked and laughed, and then the Guru looked at him and said, "Shiva's coming on funny today, isn't it?" And the point there is that even that mad individual was Shiva himself. And so that's the height of the practice that we need to get to. Can we have that ultimate compassion to see that even the most grotesque person you can think of is Shiva themselves? And so understanding that they are Shiva, you have great compassion for them. You have no animosity, no hatred. You may disagree with their actions and with who they've become as a human being. But you have great compassion because deep down you know that they are Shiva themselves. And so that is a practice that if all of us truly embodied, you imagine how different the world would be if a lot of us understood that deep down we are all Shiva. And so that's my challenge to all of you. Instead of getting into an argument in the comment section or disagreeing with me in the comment section, let's just see everyone as Shiva. And in your daily life, when you're going to work, when you're on the bus, when you're on the train, when you're going for a walk, seeing it all as Shiva. There's actually a practice in Advaita Vedanta where there is a mantra that you say to yourself, all is Brahman and I am that. All is Brahman and I am that. And so this is a training in the mind. When you're walking around and you're looking at other beings, you're looking at moving objects, it's all Brahman. And what this does is not make you a crazy person, but it makes you get out of your subjective viewpoint of reality. It's our subjective viewpoint of reality that causes all the trouble in the world, because we believe our subjective viewpoint is more accurate than someone else's subjective viewpoint. And then subjective viewpoints clash, and then we have conflict in the world. So remember, all is Brahman, and you are that. Shanti, shanti, shanti.